Hello everyone. In this video we are talking about cellular transport. It is a very important and easy topic but little bit confusing. So I created this video to explain it in a very easy and summarized way. The points we are covering in this lecture are the four main topics. We discuss all of them one by one.
The first one is cell membrane and the second one is structure of cell membrane. We first discuss these two topics because it is very important to know the structure of cell membrane to know the transport mechanism, and the third topic is transport, and fourth one is types of transport. Cell membrane, it is the outer layer of the cell that constitutes the barrier between the internal and the external environment of the cell. Only few substances can pass through it, that's why we call it a semi-permeable membrane.
Now see this picture. This is the picture of cell membrane. The main structure of the cell membrane are the lipid bilayer, proteins and the carbohydrates. Lipid bilayer and proteins play a role in the cellular transport. Protein have the further two types. One is peripheral protein and the second one is integral proteins. Only integral proteins play a role in the cellular transport. Cellular transport, it is a transport of substances in and out of the cell. Takes place by the two ways, diffusion and active transport. Diffusion further have two types, simple diffusion and the facilitated diffusion. Active transport have the two types. Number one is the primary active transport and the number two is the secondary active transport. Simple diffusion, the diffusion of substances without energy. It takes place through the lipid bilayer, through pores, aquaporins. Lipid soluble substances can move through it. These are the oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen and alcohols. Water and water soluble substances, small substances, can pass through the aquaporins, and the third one is the channel proteins through which the movement of substances takes place. Only selective substances can pass through it, and few gated channels are present through which only few substances can pass. Now see this diagram. In this diagram shows the extracellular environment contains the more molecules that pass through it into the intracellular environment by diffusion. Now see this diagram. In this diagram, the molecules move from extracellular to intracellular by the channel proteins. Different type of channel proteins are present in the cell membrane. Some are selectively permeable, means allow some substances to pass through them. And this permeability depends on the diameter of the pore of the channel proteins. Gated channels, as indicated by their name, these are the channels having the gates on them. There are two types of gated channels. Number one is the voltage gated channels. These channels open when the changes occurs in the membrane potential, the resting membrane potential. We discuss the membrane potential in our next video. The example of gated channels are sodium gated channels and the potassium gated channels. See this diagram. In this diagram, three states are shown. Number first is the closed state, when the membrane at resting position, sodium not move inside. Then activated state, when the action potential generated, sodium moves inside more fastly. Then the second type of gated channels are the chemical or ligand gated channels. These are very important, and these channels open when the chemical substances bind with the protein surfaces. and cause the channels to open and allow the substances to move inside. The most important example of these channels is the acetylcholine channel. These are important in the nerve transmission. Now see the diagram. The channels are closed, neurotransmitter bind with it, and the right side diagram shows that the channel allow the molecules to move inside. Now the facilitated diffusion. It is the type of diffusion. The molecules bind with the carrier proteins. Some conformational changes occur in the carrier proteins and allow the substances to move the other side of the membrane. Now see this diagram. Facilitated diffusion is shown clearly. The next one is active transport. It is a transport that use energy molecule for the movement of molecules against the concentration gradient from lower concentration to the higher concentration gradient. There are two types of active transport. Number one is primary active transport and the second one is the secondary active transport. Primary active transport is movement of molecules by using the ATP molecule against concentration. For example, sodium potassium pump. This pump uses ATP for the movement of ions, 3 sodium outside and the 2 potassium inside. Then see this diagram, the sodium potassium pump is shown. Now secondary active transport. It is a type of transport in which energy molecule is used other than ATP and allows the substance to move from the cell membrane. There are two types of secondary active transport. Number one is co-transport and the other is the counter-transport. In co-transport, both the molecules move in the same direction. For example, sodium glucose transport. In this, sodium move from outside to the inside of the cell membrane and allows the glucose molecules to move inside with it. Because glucose molecule is a very higher molecular weight substance, so it cannot pass easily through the membrane. Now see this diagram. In this diagram, sodium glucose transport is shown. Sodium move inside and allow the glucose to move with it to inside the membrane. Now the counter transport. It is a transport of ions or molecules in the opposite direction. For example, sodium calcium transport, counter transport. In this, the sodium move inside and the calcium move outside. Sodium hydrogen counter transport occur in the same manner as the concentration of sodium is higher outside and lower inside, so the sodium moves inside and cause the calcium or hydrogen ions to move outside the cell. In this picture, counter transport is shown as sodium move inside and the calcium move outside. Now see this flow chart. In this chart, the whole topic is summarized. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and share this video with your friends and also subscribe my channel for more videos.